Hey Christine, Mark Devlin here with Higher Grounds. Thanks a lot for your recent order of 2 pounds of African Winds. I thought it was necessary for all the business that you're doing with Higher Grounds to invite you into our roastery and just show you exactly how coffee's roasted. We're so passionate about this, we want to share it with all of our customers because it's so cool. It's just so cool. Everything about coffee is cool. But let me tell you a little bit about what you ordered first. The African Winds is a combination of Costa Rican Terrazú, which is a staple of coffee houses. That is your daily brew. That's the morning breakfast blend. That's just a really well balanced coffee, low in acidity, high on flavor. It's just a great bean. And we mix that with probably one of the most underrated beans in the world called Ethiopian Yirgacheffe. Ethiopia is where the actual first Arabica bean came from. And during the times of the Dutch trade, the Dutch took that bean from Ethiopia and propagated it throughout the world. So that's the reason you have Arabica beans from Hawaii to South America to Sumatra, to Indonesia, and even now getting into Vietnam, which is traditionally more famous for its Robusto beans, but now starting to get into the Arabica bean. And Arabica is the highest quality coffee that you can get. But I just want to show you a little something out of the most recent Roast magazine. The Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, if you can see it right in here, actually scored a 94 out of 100 on a taste test. Just to put that in perspective, Kona scored about a 92. So the flavor, the aroma is the how it smells when water is introduced, to the fragrance, which is how it smells before water is introduced, to the acidity, to the taste. Just a world-class bean. And so the two beans together make up your African Winds. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start roasting this and introduce you to bits and pieces in the inner sanctum of roasters. Behind me you can see there's three commercial roasters. These are called micro roasters. They roast in 2-pound lots. And the reason we do it like that is because we don't pre-roast anything before we send it out. So that means when you make your order, we roast it right on the spot and we send it out the very next day. In this case, I'll be actually bringing it out to you today. So the top of this is called a chaff collector. And what a chaff collector is, it's a 3-part unit that when coffee is roasted, it has a little parchment we call chaff. And essentially when the coffee goes through the roasting cycle, that chaff is extracted and kind of separates from the bean. And because of how the roaster roasts, it's caught up into this area here, so that chaff, that skin per se, it's like the skin of a peanut, isn't in your coffee when we grind it. And that's a good thing. You don't want to be tasting that. Not too much of it anyway. This is our roasting chamber. So again, it's a 2-pound roasting chamber. As you can see, it has perforations on the bottom. And that's when I turn on the roaster, air is going to blow up from underneath here, a real strong current of air. And introduced into that air are BTUs, or heat units. And because you want your coffee medium, your roast profile is actually programmed right into this roaster. So we have this little computer that says, all right, here's how much BTUs and heat to introduce into the air. That air blows up through this perforated bottom here, and then the green coffee beans begin to agitate and circulate. Heat is introduced, and that's how it begins roasting. All these buckets you see below here are actually different origins from all over the world. Higher Grounds goes all over the world to get the coffee, from the far reaches of the Sumatran Islands in Indonesia to Kona, which is on the main island of Hawaii, all the way to Costa Rica and down to Kenya and Ethiopia. So again, all over the world we shop in. This is just kind of our staples here. On the side where you can't see of all our exotic blends, like the Kona, the Jamaican Blue Mountain, as well as the Kopi Luwak, which is the rarest coffee in the world. And priced like that, by the way. So without further ado, let me go ahead and start the roast cycle. These cans I've pre-filled with green coffee beans. And each can holds a pound of green coffee weight. Tell you, actually about 1.2 pounds, excuse me. I'm going to put 2 of them in there because you've ordered 2 pounds. So I put 1 pound of Costa Rica Terrazú and 1 pound of Ethiopian Yirgacheffe. Now what happens is, so why is it, wait a second, 1.2 is 2.4. You only ordered 2 pounds of it. Why is that? Well, when coffee goes through the roasting cycle, it actually loses anywhere from 15 to 25% of its green weight. So when it comes out roasted like that, the water, which made up about 15 to 25% of the green coffee bean weight, is actually roasted out of the actual roasted bean. So that's why the bean's going to look bigger. This is going to fill up to about here when it actually roasts, because those beans pop after it goes through this heat. It just expands and blows up, but it also loses 15 to 25% of its weight. So that's why we have to put more green coffee weight in here to give you exactly 2 pounds. So let me go ahead and put the chaff collector on it. As you can see, we have the ductwork that blows all the smoke out there. Your roast profile is already pre-roasted. We're going to start it up. You can hear it, you can start seeing that air is just blowing up through that perforated bottom there and start to agitate those beans. And as the heat's introduced, those beans will start lightening up because the water will start evaporating out of it. So what I'll do here is let it bring through the roast cycle. I'll see you back in about 20 to 25 minutes. Take care. See you in a bit.